All right.
Craig is recording. All right. Uh, so where were we?
I mean, we're talking about abortion and ignoring morality and stuff, but then I mean, I just wanted to elaborate my point again, so avoid misunderstandings and stuff. I mean,
Yeah, go ahead.
I disagree and I agree with abortion at the same time. That might sound a little bit weird, but what I mean by that is that under some circumstances, abortion isn't just good, but sometimes it could be even necessary, you know. And what I mean by that is that let me create an example right here. The family, the mom, she's a whore, and the dad, a drug dealer, a thief already, you know. So if they end up having a baby, the baby most likely gonna become a criminal, outlaw dude, a bad guy, you know. And I bet we all can agree that that happens quite often. So I think that under this situation, the family should have the right to perform the abortion. You know, I mean, aside from like not considering like religion and anything, immorality, you name it. But why I don't agree with abortion in on some situations is that I mean some families, even though they got what it takes to provide and provide the best, best for the kids to provide what it takes to ends meet, whatever. They decide to perform the abortion, knowing that somehow killing a living being that is temporarily residing in the belly. I think that that's wrong because you gotta think about it. The fact that you're killing, you know, you're killing a incomplete baby and stuff. That's why I think that you gotta think about that shit. You gotta decide, because it's kind of complicated. Yeah, that's my point. But like, there's some people that they just, they end up deciding to kill the baby, as I told you, because they don't want to raise it, which is kind of nonsense. But I agree that has to do with freedom as well. So there's a lot to discuss about freedom and the baby rights as well, the fetus, you name it. You know.
Okay, so can you give me an example of the one thing that you disagree with, like like one scenario that you disagree with abortion?
I once know that I disagree, and I think that me personally, if I had a wife, I wouldn't allow her to do that. I'm gonna use me as an example. Let's say in the future, 10 years ahead, I'm gonna end up having a kid. I'm gonna be quite wealthy. I'm gonna have enough, to take care of my family. But if my wife comes to me and say that, and she end up having an unwanted pregnancy, and if she comes to me saying that she does not want to have the baby because she's not preparing stuff, I wouldn't allow that to happen. I would complain. I wouldn't let her perform the abortion because I think that she ain't got the right to kill a baby, and neither have I the right to kill a baby as well. So I would I wouldn't allow that. That's one of the circumstances where I think that abortion is kind of wrong. You know.
Okay, so let's talk about that specific thing, right? Do you remember what my argument for why abortion should be legal is?
No, if you could recall that shit,
Okay.
tell me please.
Okay, so the whole thing was about bodily autonomy, which is nobody should tell a woman what to do with her body, but not just a woman. Nobody should tell any other person what to do with their body.
Okay, I got a question.
So the government right now, not the government. Okay, go ahead.
But do you think the baby is the same as the is part of the woman's body? Like he's literally let's say a member, an organ, whatever. member of the body. Let's say
No,
like a fucking heart, like a lung, like a liver. Do you think that it is the same thing?
no.
So
I
yeah,
think the I think the baby is a foreign entity developing inside of the woman.
so that's why you think that the baby might be inflicting, might be, like how can I put that? Might be going against the woman's right if he doesn't want it to have the baby inside of her because she's the one that keeps the baby alive.
Okay, so if I let me tell you my argument again, right? And then we can discuss it and relate it to your argument. So my whole thing again is body autonomy, and that is nobody should use another person's body without their consent.
Yeah,
So right now, every single country doesn't allow anybody to use another person's body without consent. So why should we allow a fetus to use a woman's body without her consent?
why should we allow fetus to use a woman's body without her consent?
Yeah.
I don't think. I don't think. I mean, I do think that's up to the woman, to the mother. You know, I do agree with your point by saying that. What I disagree with that is that you gotta think about the fact that even though you don't want the baby, but if you know that you have what it takes to raise the baby, I think you gotta really overthink about that and considering the fact that you might be ending your life. You know that about to be formed.
So my whole argument against that, right? To me, I think I said this before. It doesn't matter to me whether or not whether or not the person's life depends on using another person's body. Like even if right now a baby needs a woman's like if a 5-year-old baby needs the mother's kidney, for example, we are not going to force the mother to give the baby the kidney because of what bodily autonomy. So the same thing applies to the fetus. We shouldn't allow the woman to give her womb to the fetus without her consent.
But didn't she had the consent when she was about when she wanted to have sex and she knew the consequence of having sex and she knew
Okay,
that an unwanted pregnancy could end up happening.
okay. So the thing is that I like to use an analogy to explain that, right? So if you drive a car, let's say you consent to driving a car, does that mean you consent to keep driving the car, or can you just stop driving the car at any point?
A kid driving the car?
So if you consent to driving a car, should we force you to stay in the car?
No.
Okay, so the same thing applies. If you consent to falling pregnant, that doesn't mean you consent to remaining pregnant. So we shouldn't force you to remain pregnant, even if you consented to falling pregnant.
Yeah, but now we're discussing. I mean, there's a car and there's a baby. You know, there's two kind of different things that we're comparing right now. But the analogy makes sense. The analogy makes sense.
Yeah, so for me, it's the same logic. Just because I consent to falling pregnant, it doesn't mean I also consent to remaining pregnant. I should be able to abort the baby at any given time, not the baby, the pregnancy.
All right. That makes sense. But what do you think about my idea of being like my idea of abortion? Like when I say that my examples that I gave when I say that why is right and why is wrong.
Uh, can you remind me what you said about the wrong part of it?
I mean the wrong part of it. As I said, like I mean I wouldn't allow my wife, for example, to do that. Is if I'm wealthy, not literally wealthy, but like if I have what it takes to provide a good life for my family and stuff. And let's say my wife end up having like an unwanted pregnancy because of a mistake, and she
Oh,
decided to, let's say, to kill the baby, whatever, abortion, you name it. Me personally, I wouldn't allow her to do that, because I wouldn't feel comfortable knowing that my wife end up killing a baby. I mean, now my bad, but we got to talk about morality as well, not about religion but morality. But me personally, I think that's despicable. I wouldn't do that.
okay. So the reason why I don't like to bring morality into it is because I believe morality is subjective. So I don't want to get stuck on the topic of what is right or wrong because we may never agree on that. So my response to that, right, everything you just told me is, yeah, you essentially agree that nobody should use another person's body without consent.
No,
You agree with that, right?
the analogy makes sense, and I agree with that. But I mean, what I say is that I wouldn't
Okay,
care about people doing it. But me personally, I mean, I wouldn't feel comfortable with that situation. I'm just saying that's because I think it's wrong. I know that you don't want to talk about morality right here, but yeah, that's what I.
okay. So the point I'm trying to make there is that when you say you wouldn't allow your woman to do it, your wife to do it, you're essentially forcing her to do something with her body that she doesn't want to do with her body.
Yeah, I'm doing it. I'm doing it
Okay,
because I would rather force her
so
than let her kill the.
so the question there becomes, who are you to force her to do something with her body?
Uh,
Because in that
the
case,
father.
in that case, it's not different from forcing the woman to have sex with you.
Well, it's kind of different because the baby's mine as well. So I could be thinking about what I think I should do with the baby. So if I disagree with the fact that she wants to kill the baby, and knowing that the baby was originated because of me, I wouldn't allow her to perform that because the baby is basically mine as well. So yeah, that's my decision and her
Okay,
decision.
so
So we create a
so
dispute right here. Hold on. Whether she got more right to decide, or if you got like half, let's say I got 50 and she got 50, and we can agree on any terms. Me personally, I mean, I wouldn't literally force her. I wouldn't like beat the fuck out of her because she decides to have the baby. I can't do that, but I would do my best to convince, uh you know and whatever. I would try to avoid the worst, the disaster for me, personally.
yeah, so what I wanted to say there, right, is the fuck. I was gonna ask you a question. I was gonna say, let's say that child of yours, right, it's your baby. Let's say it's a she. Your daughter needs a kidney transplant, and you are not a match, but your wife is a match. If she doesn't get the kidney, she's going to die. Are you going to force the woman to give her the kidney?
That's fucked up. Because how would I force her? That's the point. I mean, I would do my best, but I couldn't use violence. But like, I mean, let's say, bro, if I really love my kid, and I know that a kidney wouldn't kill my wife. I don't know. I'm not a science guy, but I think that the kidney wouldn't end up killing my wife. Honestly, I would kind of force her to do the transplant because I don't want my kid to be gone. I don't want my kid dead, bro. I would do my best, and I didn't want to have to say that, but bro,
Okay, so
I'm gonna have
I
to.
think I think I misunderstood there because when you said force, I thought you meant like literally force her, right?
Yeah,
But if
my
you're
bad.
saying all you can do is try to convince her, then yeah, I can understand that. You can try to convince her, but you shouldn't have a say on what, like, you shouldn't force her to do it, to keep the baby, and you shouldn't force her to give up her organs.
I mean, but honestly,
So I guess that was a
let's say I
miscommunication.
would have to force her to give up the organ. I would have to force her to do that because I mean, if she's that retarded by knowing that she wouldn't die because she would give her kidney, and she would rather
Okay, but
she would rather have a kid instead of having her having her son or kid, whatever. I would have to, you know, to force her. My bad, bro. But that's kind of wrong.
okay, that's the part I disagree with when you say force. Because if we create a society where we force people to do something with their bodies, then how is it different from you in prison? And let's say we're both in prison, and I'm telling you, okay, I want to have sex, and I want to force you to give me your ass.
That's different, bro. Because I mean, there's a matter.
How is it different?
That's a matter of saving a kid without inflicting a little damage, like on my wife, you name it. This the situation that you're trying to compare is that you're literally raping a dude because you want to rape. That there's nothing behind it. That's you know.
Yeah, I think that's the point. Like, it doesn't matter why you're doing it. You just like my position is that it doesn't matter why you're doing it. You just shouldn't force anybody to use their bodies in any certain way against their
Hold up.
consent.
So what Don is trying to say is that is basically argue bodily autonomy. Okay, and
Yeah,
his example of being in prison is that like if somebody's in prison and then somebody else is saying I want to have sex with you. Okay, and then they violate that person's bodily autonomy. Okay, that would be bad.
Yeah, that would be bad.
yeah, essentially.
But I don't think it's comparable. I don't think it's comparable with me trying to save my kid. You know, I don't think that's comparable at all. Even though the analogy makes sense, even though I mean this the fucking situation is kind of I didn't want to say but kind of similar because I'm forcing somebody to do something they were refusing. But yeah,
Yeah, I think the part you're ignoring is where I say, like, to me it doesn't matter why you're doing it. It all boils down to bodily autonomy. You just shouldn't force anybody to do anything with their body that they do not consent to,
yeah, we should.
regardless of the circumstances.
Yeah, we shouldn't. But as someone that would definitely love my kid, I would have to do that. So because we know that we normally, I mean, sometimes we can do things, we can do bad things, we can do illegal things to save those who we love, right? So yeah, I
Okay,
would.
let me give you an example, right? I think this scenario would be better. Let's say my daughter needs a kidney. If she doesn't get a kidney, she's going to die. I'm not a match, but you, Gil, your daughter is a match. Should I force your daughter to give my daughter a kidney?
I mean, if you were trying to do that, I would get pissed off, but I would understand, and I wouldn't let. I mean, if my daughter agrees on doing it, all right. But if she doesn't, if you go
No, no.
try to force it, I wouldn't let you do that, bro. But
She's
Okay,
not
so
agreeing.
if she doesn't agree, should I force her?
I mean, bro, should you force her? Yeah, you should. That's your daughter, right? You should. I'm not agreeing with you.
No, he's
No,
talking
I
about
mean
your
your
daughter.
daughter.
I mean,
If your daughter doesn't agree, should I force
I
her?
understand what I'm saying is that you should because your daughter. I mean, your daughter's life is a risk. Is in risk, so you gotta do that, bro. But I mean, I wouldn't let you do that. I mean, I don't know if I would honestly, but it depends.
But
No.
hold up, Gil. What he is
I
asking, okay?
understand your point.
Because I
I
don't think he.
understand what
Oh,
he's asking, bro.
okay.
I just responded. You know, I think that's just fine. I just understand that he was saying, should I force her, my daughter? And what I'm going to say is that if you had to force her, I would understand. I don't think I would agree if my daughter does not agree with the decision. With I mean with your impulse of forcing her. You know, that's my point.
Okay. Why would you not agree with Dawn forcing your daughter to do something? Why would you not agree to that?
Well, if my daughter does not want to have the transplant to I can't imagine me forcing my daughter to do something such as a transplant, so I
Okay.
wouldn't be comfortable in having to do that with my daughter. And because honestly, I wouldn't care as much as I wouldn't care as much as I care about my daughter. I wouldn't care as much as about the Dawn daughters as I care about my daughter. So that would be a conflict, you know.
Okay. So do you understand why that would relate to what Dawn is saying about bodily
Yeah,
autonomy? And that, yes. Okay.
But that's the thing that I am against here, because I think it creates for an awful society where you can force someone to do something with their body that they don't consent to.
I mean, so hold on. You're saying that I mean you could legally force. That's what you're saying. I mean,
Huh?
I know you disagree, but you're saying that you disagree with the fact that you could legally force. You know, that's it.
No,
I don't think that's what I'm saying.
he's not saying that. Gil, what he's saying is that he is against people, okay, taking somebody's bodily autonomy away from them.
Bro, I know, but
Okay.
I mean, what
Like
if?
the example, like the example in prison, okay, or like the example with your daughter, okay, and that their bodily autonomy is being taken away from them, okay. And what Dawn is saying that, and what Dawn is saying is that he's against all of
I
them.
know, but what if the law isn't against all of that? Would you still be against?
To me, even if the law allowed violation of bodily autonomy, I would still be against it.
Alright, but if the law allows violation of body autonomy under some circumstances, like you know, to save, I mean, to save life, for example, would you still be against it?
Yes,
And do you think that there would,
She's
and
not
do you think
gonna.
that there would be a chaos in the world if that was the case?
to me, it's as I said, it doesn't matter why you're doing it. You just shouldn't force anybody to do anything with their body without their consent.
Yeah. All right, but I just think
Yeah,
that you should understand that there's different situations, different occasions where that like for example rape and like abortion and like transplant that's completely different you know from each other. So yeah, that's my point. Even though both of them could be
but he.
could be autonomy violation, I think that you know they're not comparable at all.
I don't think Dawn ever said that they are
He didn't
comparable.
say that.
I
He
don't think
didn't
Dawn
say
ever
that,
said
but
Yeah,
he
that.
was using. He was trying. He was kind of comparing, you know, and
Yeah,
giving examples
yes,
using them.
because he is saying like because he's saying that he's against all forms of bodily autonomy being taken away. That's what he's trying to
Yeah,
say. He's against all
I
yeah.
know, but
forms.
he did use the examples like I mean, rape and
Yes,
like a car and yeah, and transplant, you name it. So that's why I'm saying it.
Yeah, but do you understand what I'm against
Yeah, I
exactly?
do. I do.
Yeah, because I don't want. Because I have a feeling that you don't. I don't know why.
For
okay.
everything that
So
I don't
Gil,
want to
okay,
argue,
but
bro.
Gil,
I do.
you know what? I'm gonna ask Gil this question. Gil, what is Dawn against? Tell me what Dawn is
I mean,
against.
he's against the violation of body autonomy, which means that even the baby wouldn't. I mean, shouldn't violate their mother autonomy, you know, and that's the main point. But she's like, I mean, he's against like violation of body autonomy in general, which includes like transplant, rape, whatever. And then he was kind of asking me those questions to compare situations and stuff. That's what he's against, and I understand that. That's you know.
Okay, I'm gonna give you an example to clarify that. Right? Let's say the world is gonna end, and in order for the world to end, I need to have sex with my wife. If my wife doesn't consent to it, even though it's going to save the world, I'm against forcing her to do
So,
it. I wouldn't force her to have sex with me, even if it
but
means
would you
saving
do
the
that?
world.
So
No.
you would rather end the war instead of forcing your wife.
Yes.
Yes, he would rather end the world than rape his wife.
God damn. I mean, but the word would be the same, like the same word that we got, or the environment would be different. How is that?
Okay,
it would
okay,
just blow up.
okay,
Definitely blow up.
okay. Let me put it this way. Let's say my wife and I are the last human beings on Earth. In fact, the last human beings ever, and we have to procreate, right? We have to make more humans, obviously. So, should I force her to do that with me, or should I let her consent and then we do it together? I wouldn't force her to do it with me. I wouldn't force her to repopulate the
God damn.
planet
So you it would be
with me.
responsible for the extinction of human race. That's kind of heavy, but yeah, I
So the way I see it, right? The way I see it, it wouldn't be our responsibility.
mean, what I mean, it would because he would be the last man and she would be the last female, right? So it kind of would be your responsibility, even though nobody told you, nobody would tell you that because he would be the last. So
Mhm.
whether that would be your responsibility or not, it's up to you. It would be up to you. But yeah, uh, I understand.
Gi- give me a second. I was checking the definition of responsible because I thought I was confusing it with something. So having an obligation to do something or having control over or care for someone as part of one's job or role. Yeah, I don't think it would be our responsibility. We don't have an obligation to
Right, you
do
do
it.
not have it, but some people they have an obligation. They don't do whatever. So like, let's say if I had an obligation to, if I had an, if it was my responsibility to, I mean, to do my homework and I did it, you know. So like, even though it's not your responsibility to do that, I do think you should think about it deeply about what would be the consequences that of not having sex and repopulating the world. You gotta decide. But I got your point. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you understand the point. I'm just against taking away people's bodily autonomy. So that's why I'm pro-abortion because I feel like if we don't allow abortion, we are taking away the woman's bodily autonomy. Um, so yeah, that's basically my reasoning for being pro-abortion. Do you
I
understand
do.
all of
I
it
do.
now?
There's no big deal. That's just fine. And I'm kind of pro-abortion,
Okay,
you
so
know.
if I guess
Yeah, I'm kind of pro, but I'm against. That's fucked up.
yeah,
You
I
are
think you
pro and
understand.
Yeah.
against abortion. That's
Um, Gunpoint. I think I understand what he means by that. It's just that when he says it, it sounds stupid. But he
like
explained
like
what he
he is
means.
saying situations. Oh, he's like situational with abortion. Like he's like
Yeah,
set for some situations.
yeah. It's just that the way he words it, it's weird.
Yeah,
But
the
he
way he
means like
was it is
he's
just
pro,
super weird.
he's pro-abortion. He's just anti-abortion in some situations.
Yeah, because because it's just like it's like the way you word it. It's like I'm pro and it's like I'm pro and anti abortion. It's
Yeah,
like
because that's two
like
sides of the
Yeah,
coin, you know. That's why. But sometimes you gotta.
yeah, just say you're situational. Just say you're situational with abortion, and that it depends on the
Yeah, that's what I.
circumstances.
That's what I'm talking about, you know.
yeah. Because if you say you're pro and against, it becomes contradictory.
Yeah, like I'm for and against something. It's like you can't be on both
Yeah, but
sides.
what about?
I'm for
Yeah,
But
something
what
and
about
I'm
what
against
about
it.
abortion?
it's like saying
What about what
no,
about
go ahead.
abortion to save the world and to preserve the planet? What do you think about
No,
abortion?
well, we get that. That's situational. You're talking about situational, okay? What we're saying is that the way that you say it comes off as being very, very weird and contradictory. And that you're saying that you're
I
for
don't
and
think it's
against it.
contradictory.
When you could just say
I
different
don't think.
situations.
Okay, let me ask this, Gil, do you know what cognitive dissonance is?
Yeah.
It's essentially holding two positions that are complete
Yeah, I,
opposites of
I
each
know that
other.
they're complete opposite,
For example, saying
but like,
saying you're
but
both
this.
It's like saying you're both. It's like saying you're both like you exist and you don't exist at the
Bro,
same
like let's
time.
not do that comparison because what I'm saying is that I agree with abortion under some circumstances and I disagree under some circumstances. Like that's simple to understand, you know. Even though the outcome of
Yeah.
abortion is the same, I think that I mean there are different situations as Gunpoint was explaining, you know. And I don't think that's the same thing as like I exist and I not exist at the same time. I think that's kind of crazy.
No, I
Yeah.
understand. You're just saying the way you word it. It sounds like that's what you're
Yeah,
saying. It sounds contradictory. You should just say I'm pro-abortion under certain
yeah.
circumstances.
I should have done it. I should have said like that.
Yeah. So I guess my whole thing is done. You can just ask me questions if you want, or if Gunpoint wants to ask something.
Um. So before we were so like we were talking in VC about the like potential of something of somebody being something, and like if somebody has a potential of being a murderer, that we should abort them before that happens. I want you to go.
Yeah, but
I
what
want you
you
to
mean by
explain
we?
that.
Let's say what you mean by we.
Wait, no, wait. So we were in
I know.
VC in
Hold on.
Batman
I
server.
know.
That's
Hold
why I
on.
said
But what
we.
you mean by we should? I mean, maybe I misused the word we when I was explaining Mama. But what you mean by we
Mm.
should force them to? I mean, we should force the abortion. We should kill the kid. What you mean by like when you?
No. So what? So wait. You said okay in the VC that if somebody has the potential to be a bad person, okay, that we the people people should abort the kid if they have the potential of doing
I
something
mean,
bad.
if I say we should
Or am
abort the
I?
kid, that was a mistake. What I meant by that is that
No, I'm saying that when I say we, I mean people. That the people, people, should abort the kid that they're having if the kid has a potential of being a
yeah,
bad
I think
person.
I agree with that. I do. I don't backtrack. I
You
do
agree with
think
that?
that if their mother wants to kill the if wants to do the abortion because of that reason, because she's unable to provide, because she's unable to raise, she's you name it.
That's different. Huh?
Oh,
That's
it's not
different.
different
Okay.
because what I
What
meant by
what
that
I'm
one
asking,
point is
okay.
that
What I'm asking go, what I'm asking go is that if the kid has a potential of being a serial killer, okay, and the mother is living the mother's rich, okay, she's rich as fuck, okay. But if the child has a potential of being a serial killer, should the mother still abort the child?
potential to be a serial killer, but what about percentage? You know, let's say he has a like
No, this no, there's a potential. He just has a potential of being a serial killer. No percentage of nothing. He has a potential of being a serial killer. Should the mother
they
abort the
put. I
child?
mean, uh, bro, hold on. Like, I think depends because we gotta talk about numbers right now. Like, what's the percentage of the kid gonna become a serial killer? What's the not?
No, it's just hold up. There's no numbers. It's just that he has a potential of becoming one. There's no numbers to it. He has a potential of becoming one. There's no numbers to it. It's just he
We
has a
are, bro.
potential. That's it.
Yeah, there's no way of calculating what
Yeah,
what the
because we all
probability is.
There's no probability. It's
we
just
all
that he has
got the potential to have a kid and he could become a serial killer, you know. So that's fucked up.
yeah. Yeah, so what I'm saying, Gil, so what I'm saying is, based on that potential, should somebody abort? So somebody just abort a child because of the fact that they may have the potential of being something.
Gunpoint, honestly, bro, that might disappoint you. I do agree that that should be the case in some countries and in some environments because of that would be.
Well, just because of the potential of somebody being something, that's it. That's we should just abort because of potential. That's it. That's all we should. That's all
I
we
mean,
should
I
do.
think the female should have the right to abort because of the potential of you know her son, her kid becoming a bad person. Yeah.
Okay. how can you like how can you determine it because of the
We can
because
determine it
like because like if you because like say for example like, say for example if you like say for example if you dream of your kid killing somebody, are you just gonna abort your kid
because
because
of
of a
what? A
dream?
dream?
Yeah. Okay, let me give an example. Okay, say for example you're dreaming of your future child like murdering somebody. Okay, would you abort your child
I
because of
wouldn't
that
abort my
dream?
child because of that dream, because that's like a dream isn't relevant. The dream is shit, bro. Like that's imagination, but we're talking about reality right here.
But what I'm saying is that what I'm saying is you're talking about potential, okay? So what I'm saying is that so what I'm saying is that so what I'm saying is that because everyone has a potential to become something, okay? And so you're saying this man has a potential to become a serial killer. We should just support them. What I'm saying is that how do you determine that potential? How do you
We can
determine that
determine
potential
their
of somebody
potential
being
by
something?
analyzing the environment of the kid. I'm gonna give one example again, Gunpoint. I think that you gotta let's wrap it up. Let's say I'm extremely poor. I'm a
Mhm.
criminal, and my wife, she's a bitch. She's a whore, you know. And I end up she end up having a unwanted pregnancy. I use the word like multiple times today. I'm getting fucking tired. But let's say I wanted a pregnancy, and then the probability of my kid becoming a fucking murderer, a fucking thief, and fucking drug dealer is extremely high. Let's say over 80%, because that's actually true. Because you can pretty much check it out. How many people we got? I mean, hold
Yeah,
on, Gunpoint.
how can you
You can
determine that
pretty much
probability?
verify. You can do that by yourself. How many people are out there in poor countries that you know end up like the
Yeah.
criminality rate, and everything. You can count that. So basically, I think that if that's the case, the mother should have the right to abort the kid, but that wouldn't be no, but there wouldn't be
Yeah.
an obligation. There wouldn't be nobody would go enforce her, but she should have the right, and that would be legal. That's my point. Are you gonna say, well, that's potential? Yeah, it is potential, but that would be helpful regardless of being potential being. Nah,
Hold up, but what I'm saying is that if we determine everything about the potential, then a lot of things would change and a lot of things would become worse.
give me an
Okay,
example,
just
then go
because something
point.
has a
Give me an
potential of being
example of
something.
a lot.
Okay, okay. Simple example. Let me give an example about thinking about potential is wrong. Okay, say for example I'm walking down the street. Okay, and I see a guy, a random guy. Okay, and I think this guy has a potential of robbing me. Should I beat that guy up because of the fact that he may have a potential
And you
of
shouldn't,
robbing
because the
me? Should I do
potential is
that?
limited. The potential is basically non-existent. It's like it's limited to none, bro. Like potential is literally.
Wait, why would hold up? Why would there be something on? I may be living in the ghetto. I may be
Let's
living in a
say
bad
even though you live
environment.
in the ghetto, what's the chance for you? What's the chance that you're gonna go to to buy some bread, to buy some fucking Coca Cola, you name it?
Yeah, I'm buying bread, okay, and I walk down the street and I see somebody I think they have a potential of robbing me. Should
You
I beat
shouldn't,
them up?
because
Yes or
they
no?
probably wouldn't rob you anyway. They probably wouldn't rob you, and that's the point.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. Gil, is that thinking about potential of something happening
But
that's not
what
going to work out.
what I'm saying is that
Yeah, the
You
whole
shouldn't.
whole thing is that just because something has to, like, someone has the potential to do something, it doesn't mean they're going to do it. So you're not
Yeah,
justified in acting based on that potential.
it
like
doesn't mean that they are going to do
just
it.
because someone has
I
a
mean,
potential.
I had some videos right here of multiple kids
Yeah,
in
that's
the
fine.
in the favela, for example, playing with guns, playing with like fucking drugs and stuff, and kids like 5-year-old kids.
But,
And I
but it's
mean,
the thing of
hold
that.
on, point, hold on. You
But it's
know
the
that
thing of
kids
that. Hold
do
up.
what they're told to do, right? What they've been told to do. I mean, it's basically. I mean, a kid's brain is like it's still like have yet to be formed. Like I mean, for example, a kid is just is just to convince. A kid is just to put idea in their brains. Is this to mold a kid's brain. So what I mean by that is that if you're born under that fucking circumstance of that terrible environment, you're most likely gonna be part of the environment when you grow up, and that's literally that's about probability right here. It's probability.
but we're talking about potential, and that there's like, do we should we base things off of potential? Like, again, let me give you the example again. Okay, if I'm walking down the street and I see somebody, okay, and they have the potential of robbing me, should I beat them up because of their potential of robbing me? Should I? You said no. Why should I not beat them up? They have a potential of robbing me, so I should just beat them up.
Because
They may do it.
because bro, because if you do that, they're gonna be a chaos, bro. They're gonna be fucking. You're gonna literally, bro. Like, I don't know. You're gonna literally, you
Like,
know.
I mean, like, but Gil, they have the potential of robbing me. I should just protect myself before
So
they
you
do
would.
it.
I mean, so you wouldn't like. I don't know where you leave gunpoint. I don't know about like that example, but I mean, a car. I mean, let's say you're crossing the street. Let's say you're crossing the street. A car could literally run. I mean, could literally run
Mhm.
over you. So you shouldn't cross the street because a car has the potential to kill you. Like gunpoint. That's different.
Yeah, we're thinking about potential right now. Yeah, we can think about potential right now. If a car can potentially run over me, I should just not walk across the street.
Yeah, it's like saying I shouldn't drive a car because there's a
Yeah, but I
potential for an
mean that
accident.
Yeah.
I don't think that's
Like,
comparable. Like you're using like extreme examples to try to like,
wait, but why? Okay, we go. Why is it bad for us to use extreme examples? Why would that be bad?
because that's
Why would that
nonsense.
be a bad thing?
Yeah, 'cause, like the example is meant to
Yeah,
prove a point, and the point is that we can't act based
because
on that
that's
potential.
Yes, we can't act based on the potential of something happening, because like it just didn't. It can happen, but it can't happen. But it couldn't happen also.
Yeah, because in that case, everybody should be in jail because we have the potential to steal from
yeah, but
from a bank or
what
Yeah.
about
something.
probability? What
We have the
about
potential to
probability?
commit
Like
crime. We
what
should be
about
in jail.
probability? Let's say uh
I don't think we have any way of calculating the
I mean I
probability of
think we
something
can do
happening
that by let's say
unless you talk about statistics.
Yeah, like, can well, Gil. So, okay, Gil, can you give me a probability of the chance of me getting killed when
I
I'm walking
can't
at the
because
house?
that won't happen. That literally won't happen. Gunpoint like
But no, Gil, but there's a potential of that happening.
yeah, but the
It can
potential.
potentially happen. So, can you give me a
I
probability of that
can't because the
happening?
potential is not like it's not quantifiable. It's not like
Mm, mm,
simple.
mm.
And my example when I was talking about abortion and kids and favelas and like environment, it's not literally quantifiable. You can pretty much assume that that's gonna be the case with the kid growing up and like that.
But Gil, Gil, making assumptions, okay, to do something is not gonna end up
It's not
well.
gonna end up well. I don't know.
Yes, making assumptions to do something is not
But
gonna end up
let me
well.
ask
Yes.
something. Do you think that uh, what I was talking about everything that I said that would be helpful to drop the crime rate and to drop the criminality in the future, like over let's say over 100 years ahead? Do you think that the criminality rate in a country, let's say like Brazil, if that was the case, do you think that that would be helpful to resolve the problem?
Just aborting people based on the potential of them committing
So
crimes. No.
you don't think that if abortion would was legal and the I mean and the mothers
And that you're saying that we should breed out the criminal gene.
breed out the what?
Are you saying that we should breed out the criminal gene?
What is criminal gene gun point? Like, I know what you meant, but I'm just confused right now.
Well, no, wait, Gil. No, because Gil, you're saying that we should commit abortion against people because it's like that they could potentially
It's
commit
not that we
crime.
should.
So are you saying that?
It's not that we should. That should be legal.
Oh,
It's
that
not that
oh,
we
that
should. Yeah, do it. Not a suggestion. Is that is what do I think is that? What do I think is that As I told you multiple times, I think the mother should have the right to do the abortion because of her environment, to prevent and to try to help somehow.
Like Gil, Gil, the only thing I'm saying, Gil, is to base it off of potential is just not a good way to do it. Basing things off of potential is not going to be a good way to do things.
All right, I understood that because I mean it could be also preventing like a lot of good stuff. Let's say if you like, I mean, even though you were
Yeah,
born in a bad environment, you could become a successful like soccer player, successful artist, whatever. Yeah,
yeah,
we would end up.
that's what I'm saying, Gil. Is that a lot of people born in bad circumstances can rise above it. Okay. And just because of the fact that they have the potential of doing crime, that we should abort them is
Yeah,
not a
but
good way to think about things. Aborting somebody, wait, doing things off of potential is not a
I
good
got
way
you.
to live life. Because anything can potentially happen. Okay, I can get hit by a meteorite right now. That can potentially happen anytime. Okay, thinking living life off of potential is not a good way to live
I
life.
understand that. Just
Yeah.
to wrap it up, I just want to explain that I didn't remember saying we should go and kill the kid. All right. For the audience, don't I mean don't misinterpret me. I meant that she should have the right.
Okay. What do you mean? What do you mean what do you mean by we should abort
What I mean is
based on
that the
potential? What
mother,
do you mean
let's
by that?
say, she should have the right to abort based on potential, based on environment, based on circumstances. That's what I meant. It's not that we gonna go and
Yeah,
kill
that's
the
what I'm saying
baby.
is that
It's not that the government
why
gonna go and
potential?
kill and
What
force her
why
to have
okay,
abortion. Okay.
again, that's that's my main problem is the potential part of it.
Yeah.
Because anyone has a potential to do anything. So basing things off of potential is not a good way to do things.
Yeah. Even for that mother that you're talking about, she shouldn't just abort the pregnancy based on potential.
Yeah, like that's just
Okay.
not a good way.
Yeah, I think I've pretty much made my point. You know, that's fine.
But the abortion based on the
Yep.
potential point is not a
I understand. I mean,
that's
there's
is
reasons why you
no.
believe that. I understand it.
Well, no, wait, but my reason is hold up. My reason is that basing things off of a potential
Yeah,
is not a good thing to do. Because anything can potentially happen, which is why people don't base a lot of things that they do on potential. That's why people go out to drive, okay? Because they don't think about the fact that potentially they could drive their car
yeah,
into a ditch.
I understood the point. I got you. I think that makes sense as well. I do think that I agree with the point that let's say we could be end up preventing a lot of successful people to be born because of their attitude, because of like the law that would end up allowing you know abortion to happen just because of environment and stuff. But honestly, I do think that my reason outweigh yours because I think that there will.
No, no, Gil, you don't, because you're saying that we should abort somebody based on the fact that they could potentially become bad based on their environment, and it's like okay, how can you know that? How can you know that somebody can be potentially bad? Okay, because
Your point,
potentially they could be good too.
have
You
you been
can't
to
base
a
everything off of
like
potential.
or country where like
Right. But what Gil, what I'm saying, Gil, hold up, but Gil, what I'm saying, Gil, is that basing things off of potential is not a good thing to do. Okay, because again, let me say this again. Okay, because potentially anything can happen. So basing things off of potential is not a good thing to do. Does like Don? Do you understand what I'm saying? Does
Yeah.
anyone have like,
That's what I'm saying as well.
yeah
Like
like
we can't just do things based on potential. It
all
leads to a
right.
bad
I
society.
mean, yeah. That I mean, I do think that you got a point. Yeah.
okay?
Yeah,
Thank you.
because like for example, I can just say, Gil, you have the potential to kill my daughter, so I'm gonna kill you to save my
Yeah.
daughter.
Like, yeah, Gil, you have the like Gil, you have the potential
I
to
just
shoot me, so I'm gonna shoot you
I just
before
don't
you
want to
shoot
talk
me.
about probability.
It's
I
like
just don't
that.
want
It's
to
like
repeat
Yeah.
myself with probability again because
because of the fact that we're talking about potential, okay? And potential, okay, is a very, very broad thing, okay? Because potentially anything can happen. So living life of a potential is a bad thing to do because you can do a lot of stupid things because of the fact that you think something can
all
potentially
right,
happen.
that's fine. I have,
Yeah, it's not that complicated. Like living life of potential is just gonna lead to a lot of bad things
yeah,
happening.
I understand that point. That's just fine.
Mm. Thank you.
Well,
No,
if you have any
I'm
other
pretty much
questions, Gil.
done. You know, I think that we had a good discussion, and I understood the point that you were trying to convey. Yeah, that was just fine.
All right, I guess
Yeah,
it's a good discussion actually.
it's really
Yeah, it was
good.
a very good
You know.
discussion.
Yeah.
So anyway, thank you for having me, guys, and yeah, see you guys later. And I don't know, but I mean, can I like, are you gonna upload that, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna upload it
All right,
tomorrow, not today, because today it's kind of
all
late
right.
for
I
me,
mean, do
so
you
I
mind if
gotta
I
sleep.
upload as well, or like, or no?
Uh, the bot only records the audio, so I can
Right.
send you the link to download, and then you can edit if you want to edit. Because I'm also
All
gonna
right.
edit
All
and
right.
add the visuals. So I'll send you the link to download the audio, and then you can
All right. Thank
turn it
you.
into a video and upload if you want.
All right. Thank you. See you
All
guys.
right, man. Thanks, Gunpoint.
All right, no problem.
All right.